Okay, so I'm recording now. Yeah, okay. So we're comparing the fat grams to the calories of restaurant sandwiches, right? So let's answer some questions. Look at the scatter plot to the right. How many calories are in a sandwich that contains 17 grams of fat? Nick?
400.
How did you know that?
Because if I look at the fat on the graph, there between 15 and 20 is where 17 would be, and there is one dot between that, so that is most likely 17.
Perfect, right? We just kind of look, we go over to 17 and go up and say, oh, that must be it. How many grams of fat are in a sandwich that contains 600 calories? Carlos?
30.
30. Same thing, except we went up to 600, and then we went over to see that that was right at 30, right? Okay. What tends to happen to the number of calories as the number of grams of fat increases?
They also increase?
Yeah, calories increase as well. So like you guys were saying before, if if the x-axis is increasing and the y-axis, that's a positive correlation, right? So there's a positive connection relationship between fat and calories. If a sandwich had 700 calories, approximately how many grams of fat would it have? What do you think? 700 calories, how many grams of fat do you think it would have?
47.
So if we go up to 700 and we go over,
Maybe around 40.
I think it's going to be really close to about 40, right? So that's, right here is, this question right here kind of defines why we have scatter plots. So let's say about 40 grams of fat. And that's why we have scatter plots. We use them to make predictions. We can see a trend, like what you learned about in the video yesterday. And so based on that trend, we see that the numbers are increasing, so it's going to be somewhere in this region, right? We're not going to guess down here because that wouldn't go along with what we've seen happening. So we're going to be using scatter plots to create trend lines and create equations based on those trend lines to make predictions. Are you guys excited? We're not doing all that today, but that's the end game here. It's called linear regression. What? My favorite thing. I get real nerdy about linear regression because I like to do it like just by hand and then get out the app and see how close I was to the actual. I know, guys. I know. I'm owning it. I'm not denying the fact that I get real geeked out about it. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh wait, really quick. How many of you look at the menu at like Panera or like Starbucks and you see how many calories and then you make your choices based on that?
Oh, I don't make my choices based on it. I just see it.
You just see it? Does anybody like change their mind when they look at a menu item and they're like, oh man, I really don't need 1,300 calories?
As 8th graders?
Probably not, right? Maybe that's an adult thing, but that really hurt when they started putting those calorie counts on the menus, because then you're like, oh man, do I really need that hot chocolate that's 330 calories? I do. And then I feel bad about it all day. And then I do it the next day, so it obviously doesn't affect anything, but I think about it. Okay, moving on. This says identifying relationships, right? We have another unfortunate hole punch there. So somebody tell me, based on the video that you watched yesterday, what kind of relationship would this be? Positive. And we can also call this linear because it's going in the direction of a line, right? We could take a ruler and make a line that's really close to all those dots, right? A straight line. How about this second one? Negative linear. Again, we could use a ruler and make a straight line as close to as many points as possible. I say we could, knowing that we will be doing that. That's our next step here. Exciting. How about this third one? It's positive nonlinear, right? Because it's definitely going in a positive direction. X's are increasing and so are the Y's. It's just like really fast taking off. So this would be considered exponential growth, right? Which I used to teach students and be like, oh, it's when it grows like really fast. And they'd be like, whatever, that doesn't mean anything to me. That doesn't relate to anything in my life. Can you guys think of anything in the last, 11 months that has grown exponentially that definitely affects your life?
My money.
McCoy? Yeah. Right? Did you guys ever, maybe you didn't watch the news. I'm addicted to it. But you see these graphs, and what this tells you is like how many days it takes for something to double in size. Right? So they would say, okay, it took like 2 weeks for this many cases to double, and now it's only taking 7 days. Like that's when it gets scary, when it takes less time for something to double. You guys with me? Ish. Right? Not money though. Wouldn't that be great if that was your bank account? Yeah?
My bank account
If it grew exponentially?
COVID cases.
COVID cases, not so much. Money, sure. Right? Okay.
My money was equal.
What about this last one?
Hot mess.
Hot mess express, no correlation, right? Right? Can somebody give me an example of what the X and Y might be that has nothing to do with each other? Like two quantities that don't affect each other at all?
0 and 0.
Well, like categories. So, does your height affect your math grade?
No.
Nope. So that would be no correlation, right? It shouldn't. Okay. What about your age and your number of siblings? Does that matter?
Well, actually,
Well,
if
no.
you were 3,
No.
I mean, not really. Maybe when you're super young,
yeah.
like you might get more siblings, but eventually it doesn't matter, right? I don't think so. Does anybody have a family with more than 5 kids? Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Maybe.
Cousins count.
No, cousins don't count. I'm talking children that like share the same home.
If you're like, I have a friend.
If you're newborn, you can't have siblings at more siblings at the time.
Yeah.
My family
So
in
then
itself
maybe
is really
age
small.
doesn't affect
Mhm.
That's
My
what I was
family in
gonna
itself
say,
is
but
really
I
small. The
didn't
second
know
you
how
start
to
talking
say
about our
it.
cousins, it gets huge.
It's exponentially bigger.
Yes.
See what I did there? Okay, let's move on to the next page. Woo, we've got television size in inches and price. Okay, third period was really surprised to know that the size of your television set is the diagonal. Did you guys know that?
I knew that.
You knew that? It's not the size of like, I drew a picture up there underneath the mask poster, right? So if you buy like a 65-inch TV, it's from one corner to the other, not from top to.
Why?
It's because
Just like that.
it makes it seem bigger than it really is, because that's the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is going to be the longest length.
I've never heard. I
So-
actually remember reading this news article where a woman requested a refund after finding out that the TV was not the size that she bought, but she only like measured the top,
Mhm.
not diagonally.
It's the diagonal, right? It's always going to be longer. Oh, well, guys, look, it's snowing again.
It's like alien.
Is it? That's fun.
Great.
You know, I got my car washed this morning thinking, oh, it's not going to snow for a while.
And Mother Nature said, heck no.
Never
It's
get
about-
a car washed in the winter.
But remember, I have like a membership, right? So I
Oh,
pay the same amount every month, no matter if I go once or like 12 times. So,
I'm waiting for summer for yours.
okay. Get it nice and
Or summer, spring.
Yeah.
Warm.
get nice cleaned. Okay. All right, let's talk about this. So, what's the relationship between the data? What does anybody see anything happening here?
The bigger the size, the higher the price.
Okay, so increase in size of TV also increases the price. So is this a positive, negative, no correlation? What do we have here? Positive. right? Okay, do you guys know what an outlier is?
Any of them that don't really fit in.
One
The
on,
one that's different.
it's the one on the 70.
So 70-inch television for about $2,250, right?
We're learning about outliers right now in math.
Yep, so it's something that doesn't quite fit in. It lies outside the rest of the data, right? And they can't really call it a lie outsider, so they call it an outlier. I did that? Yep. It doesn't fit, right? So maybe this was an older model and they were just trying to get rid of it, so they sold it really cheap.
Call it an outside.
Outsider, I guess. Yep. Or maybe it was a super sale for like a half a day or something. I don't know,
Half a day.
right? Maybe they just came out with new technology, and so this one, it's really a big TV, but it's not as fancy as far as technology goes. Lots of reasons that could be out there. All right, clusters are when you see a bunch of plots near each other. Vale?
500.
Wouldn't like 25 to 50 be an outlier? Because it's just like there.
No, I mean that's actually part of this cluster here. So this cluster is like when you have like 3 or 4 plots that are very similar. So it's right around 30-inch TVs that cost $500. Yeah, I mean this is kind of old stuff here. I don't know if that's still relevant. I haven't bought a TV in 11 years because when I bought mine, it was like the brand new fanciest model at Best Buy, and my mom told me I was crazy, but it turns out I haven't had to buy another one since because it was the first edition of a smart TV, and I was like, well, that's never going to get old, right? So I have the same TV.
I'm trying to buy a
We
new
have one
computer.
TV that we struck a really good deal on.
Mhm.
We've had it since 2012.
Yeah.
It still works like a dream.
I'm sure.
My dad
We
got
struck
a
a
new
really
TV,
good
so I got the
deal.
old TV.
Okay. How many of you have a TV in your room?
I don't. It's
Yeah.
done. I went to Stanford's
I just got a new
but
one.
it's
I
not.
have
I'm not allowed to have a TV in my room.
Okay.
Because you're grounded?
No. Just not allowed to.
Yeah, you did tell us you were grounded a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
Happens
Yeah.
every day.
The only reason we're allowed
Meet
to
them
have
again?
Yep.
because my mom thinks that
I've been grounded.
watching TV before you go to sleep will like help you.
Yeah, so I couldn't sleep when I was younger because my brain would just keep spinning and like going down these rabbit holes. So as soon as my parents put a TV in my room, I would leave them alone and not try to be like, I can't sleep. So I've always had a TV in my room since I was like 7. It was the best thing my parents ever did. Right? I leave it on to go to sleep. Do you guys leave yours on to go to sleep or do you turn it off?
I turned mine
I
off.
turned
I
it off
tried
before.
turning it off,
I just
but
use
I'm
my
just
light.
too
I can't sleep with sound.
Really? See, I have to have something going on or else I can't stop thinking.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
what my
sleep with
mom
light.
says. She always has the news on so that she'll fall asleep.
Other than getting
It's more than
disturbed.
news, but she wants
The only thing that'll wake me up is getting disturbed.
Yeah. So
I
weird.
put my phone until I like close my eyes and like drop my phone and then I wake up again.
Okay, all right. Okay, a gap is like a huge space where nothing's happening. So do you guys see any gaps in this data?
Yeah.
Between 40 and 1,000.
Right, so right around between $500 and $1,500, right? There seems to be not many TVs available, right? You either like are kind of on a budget down here or you're willing to spend a lot. So there's not really a market here. So around $500 to $1,000. Right, and again, this is old data. Maybe that's a prime spot now. But when this was taken, it was not a popular size and or price. Like right around here, weren't many TVs being sold.
These aren't actual data. They just like get random numbers and
Yeah.
put it together, right?
I don't know. I think the people that write these books like really try to go. Like when I make questions, I try to research it.
Who makes
No
all these?
way.
Well, a lot of it comes from the Big Ideas book. but I kind of adapt it because
Must be making a lot of money.
the textbook companies make a lot of money. Yes, they do.
The schools really-
Everybody needs a textbook, right?
We rarely even use our journal.
Yeah, but you still.
Well, you say that, and that's funny because your assignment tomorrow is in your journal. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay,
My journal.
is there a relationship between a person's age and the number of pets that they own?
No.
Well, real.
Right? Maybe when you get older, you have more pets. Like somebody here who's 40 has 6 pets. I mean,
I'm gonna get another bulldog when I get older.
yeah.
Kind of, because you can't get a dog if you're
Yeah.
Your mom.
I mean, but when you're younger, you probably have like hamsters and goldfish and like little kid pets.
you can't get a dog when you're younger. I just hope that they don't eat the baby.
What?
I don't think.
They're not gonna eat the baby. They will eat the baby.
Okay. I don't know why we're talking about pets eating babies. We're going to move on. Okay. Do we have any outliers, clusters, or gaps?
They're all
You
out.
can't really tell
Yeah.
outliners.
These are all
All kind of random. Okay. Turn to the last page.
I
What was
didn't
the
get to
last
write
part
all
on
of it.
that question?
Hmm?
I didn't get to write all of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Random. Okay.
Yep.
done.
Okay. So this last page, you guys are going to create your own scatter plot.
Didn't remember.
We are comparing study time to test scores.
I feel old.
Because my X value, the highest one is 120, I had to go by 12 so I could get 120 minutes here. And then I'm not going to go higher than 100 on the test scores, so that's why these are 10s. So go ahead and fill in your increments here. That's going to change. You're going to have to start
That's
studying.
why high school's
You
gonna
say that
suck.
now.
Because you're gonna have to. My cousin, she always tells me about how she like never
Did
has
you probably
free
say the
time.
same thing when you were just like, oh, I'll study in middle school.
Well, yeah, you're right. My cousin says she has to like stay up all night and study sometimes. It sounds terrible.
Dude, why would you do that when
I'm
when
pretty
you're
sure
gonna wait for your test?
The difference is that high school teachers expect you guys to do a lot more independently.
Yeah.
And so you do have to do more on your own, or it will definitely affect your grade.
I've heard from my sister that yeah, they do.
High
They do
school
expect you
teachers
to do a
don't
lot
teach
more.
you, they just give you work.
You're. From what
I don't know. I've never been a high school teacher, but I want to believe if I was doing 9th grade, I would be doing the exact same thing I'm doing now. But I don't know.
I wish.
I want to believe that if
I think math is different. Math has to be taught,
I
right?
heard at the high school, like my brothers had the same teacher, and she was like the worst math teacher. She didn't even teach them anything. Like she just gave them work to do
Well, that's unfortunate.
the transfer.
Okay, fill in these, scatter these plots, guys. This is your X, this is your Y, so these make all the different ordered pairs. Go ahead and scatter them. So you're going to have to do some estimating here.
Oh, how did it just go back to?
Yeah, that's.
It's not in any particular order.
last thing we're doing?
Sure is.
We should watch. We should read Robin Hood.
I do love Frog and Toad. Okay, what's the relationship here? It is positive, right? Because when you're looking at the trend, it shows that the more you study, the higher your grade will be. So positive. X and Y increase.
Oh, I was about to say it's a minute.
All right. What about outliers? Yeah. 120 minutes studying, 70 minutes or 70 on the test. So this is when I would ask that student, tell me how you studied. Because I'd be a little concerned. Like, were they focused all the time? Were they watching TikToks? Were they checking their Snapchat? Did they take a break? Go get some
You can take breaks.
food, right? Did they count the breaks in the 120 minutes, right? There's a lot that can be happening. Or maybe they're like, no, I was studying the whole time, but
Yeah, no.
right before I came in for this quiz, I got in a huge fight with my best friend at lunch. I mean, that's obviously going to distract you, right? So there's a lot that can happen to cause this situation, okay? All right, I don't see any clusters. Normally clusters are like 3 or 4 things that are around. I mean, this is only 2, so we can't count that as a cluster quite yet. So no clusters. I think if we maybe surveyed more students, we would probably have a cluster. And then there's an obvious gap here, right? Between like 85 and 120 minutes of studying. There's not really a big gap when you look at the Y values, the test scores. Kind of across the board. Okay. Questions about scatter plots so far? Nope. All right, this counts as your notes, so I don't think we did it, but go ahead on the front and write Thursday 2-4. '21.